Beijing, only eclipsed by Shanghai in terms of size, is not only the political center of China, a position it has held for more than 800 years, it also plays an important role in the nation's cultural, economic, scientific and academic life. Located in the northwest of the North China Plain, not far from the western slopes of the Yanshan Mountains, Beijing, still sometimes referred to as Peking, is a great place from which to explore this dynamic country due to its dense network of road, rail and airline connections with other major cities. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 rated tourist attractions in Beijing. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more awesome travel guides and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you know when we publish a new video. So let's cut to the chase. And at 10, Beijing Ancient Observatory. Completed in 1442, the fortress-like Beijing Ancient Observatory lies in the east of the city near the station quarter and was continuously in use right up until 1929. It is widely considered one of the oldest such observatories in the world. Among the 10,000 square meter facilities, many fascinating old pre-telescopic instruments are a celestial globe dating from 1673 and an 18th century armillary globe depicting the planets, at least those that were known at the time, along with a number of large bronze instruments designed by the Jesuit missionary Ferdinand Verbiest. Once part of the old city walls, this tall brick tower serves as a museum, offering a glimpse into the surprising amount of knowledge of the stars and planets that existed at the time. Up next at 9, Beijing Capital Museum and the National Center for the Performing Arts. Arts and culture buffs are extremely well catered to in Beijing. Of particular interest is the excellent Beijing Capital Museum, one of the country's leading art museums. Opened in 1981, the museum boasts a vast collection of artifacts, including ancient items of porcelain and bronze, traditional calligraphy and artwork, along with many fine statues from Chinese and other Asian cultures. Other highlights of its collection of more than 200,000 important cultural artifacts, many originating from in and around Beijing, include the huge stele of Emperor Qianlong, weighing more than 40 tons, standing nearly 7 meters in height and containing ancient scripts and writings. Another modern Beijing landmark worth visiting is the National Center for the Performing Arts, also nicknamed the Giant Egg. Considered one of the best opera houses in Asia, the building opened in 2001 and has since hosted many of the world's leading operatic performers. At 8, it's the Lama Temple. Also known as the Yonghe Temple, the Lama Temple is one of Beijing's most attractive and best preserved temples. Completed in 1745, the building served a political purpose by giving Lamaism, the religion of the then just annexed Tibet, an official seat in the capital. It was built to generous proportions and equipped with many valuable works of art. Its most important feature is the Hall of the Kings of Heaven, with its statue of Buddha surrounded by the 4 kings who are provided with symbolic objects. Also noteworthy is the statue of Weituo, the protector of Buddhism, holding an iron staff. Other important buildings include the Pavilion of the Four-Tongued Steel, which houses a stele dating back to 1792 that contains the history of the Lama religion written in Chinese, Manchurian, Tibetan and Mongolian, and the Hall of the Buddhist Wheel, the teaching and assembly hall of the monastery, its interior dominated by a 6-meter-tall statue, 2 thrones and numerous sacred manuscripts. Be sure to also see the largest building in the Lama Temple, the Pavilion of 4,000 Fortunes, with its enormous 18-meter-high sandalwood statue. Okay, up next at 7, it's the Beijing National Stadium. Recognized the world over for its role in the spectacular Summer Olympics held in Beijing in 2008, the National Stadium, also affectionately nicknamed the Bird's Nest, is well worth a visit. Built with a hefty price tag, this remarkable structure owes its unique design to the influences of traditional Chinese ceramics and has, since the Olympics, been used to host large cultural events and performances, including opera, pop concerts and football matches. In winter, it's turned into the world's largest man-made indoor ski slope. Another nearby attraction is the National Aquatic Center. It's also known as the Water Cube for its attractive nighttime display, which sees it lit up and looking like a giant ice cube. In addition to being the site of Olympic swimming events, part of the building has been turned into the fun Water Cube water park. Afterwards, be sure to stroll along the lovely Olympic Green. This pleasant parkland and green space will take you past many of the most significant buildings from the 2008 Olympics. Okay, at 6, it's the Summer Palace. Located an easy 30-minute journey by car, bus or taxi from the center of Beijing, the city's Summer Palace is a must-visit. Dating back to the 12th century and more than 700 acres in size, it's a picture-perfect setting, which certainly befits its royal status, boasting a large 700-year-old man-made lake and beautiful gardens. Often included on organised tours, top things to see here are the Western-styled marble ship, the Hall of Wellbeing and Longevity with its elaborate throne, and the beautiful courtyard adjoining the Hall of Happiness and Longevity. You'll also want to see the impressive 19th century Great Theatre, where you can catch performances of traditional Chinese plays and music. One of the more popular things to do, if time permits, is to take a ride aboard the small pleasure craft that ferry tourists to one of the palace's temples, as well as a stroll past the traditional riverside shops on Suzhou Market Street. At 5, it's the Temple of Heaven. The Temple of Heaven dates back to 1420 and incorporates a group of some of Beijing's most sacred buildings. Surrounded by lush vegetation, these lovely old temples and shrines are set out in two sections, one rectangular, the other semicircular, which together symbolize heaven and earth. It was here that, on the day of the winter solstice, the emperor would ascend the heavenly altar in solemn ceremony to pray for a good harvest and offer sacrifices in the brightly decorated Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests. Built in 1420, in customary Chinese fashion of wood and entirely without nails, the hall sits on a 3-tier marble terrace and a roof covered with 50,000 blue-glazed tiles. Another highlight is the Hall of the Vault of Heaven. Erected in 153, it boasts a blue-tiled conical roof and was used to store the ceremonial plaques of heaven and the officials. Be sure to also visit the temple's echo wall, which echoes to even the quietest of voices, an effect exaggerated by 3 unusual echoing stones. At 4, it's Beihai Park. Just a short distance from the Imperial Palace, Beihai Park is one of the oldest surviving imperial gardens in Beijing. Laid out at the beginning of the 10th century, this beautiful open space takes its name from nearby Lake Beihai and offers many good reasons to visit. Among the park's most important structures are the Round Fort, dating from the Yuan period of 1271 to 1368, and the spectacular Hall of Enlightenment. Built in 1690, the hall is home to a 1.5-meter tall Buddha carved from a single block of white jade and a large black jade vase from the early 12th century. Another notable feature is the opulent residence of Song King Ling, in which the widow of the founder of the Republic, Sun Yat-sen, lived for 18 years until her death. You'll also want to see the living quarters of Mei Lan Fang, a famous male star of the Peking opera who specialized in playing the role of a woman. Also try to include the residence of Guomuro to the Beijing itinerary. It was here, in a home built in traditional Chinese courtyard style, that the famous writer and historian lived from 1963 until his death in 1978. Also include the beautiful 17th century white pagoda on the island of exquisite jade on your list. And now at 3, it's Tiananmen Square. Tiananmen Square is the world's largest inner-city square. Designed to hold 1 million people, it was built to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Chinese Republic in 1958. Considered the center of communist China, the square's symbolic importance dates back to May 4, 1919, when students demonstrated against the Chinese provisions of the Treaty of Versailles. Highlights of a visit include the Monument to the People's Heroes, a 38-meter tall obelisk consisting of 17,000 pieces of granite and marble, and the splendid Tiananmen Gate, known as the Gate of Heavenly Peace. It was completed in 1417 and was once the main entrance to the imperial city. Another important gateway is Zhengyanmen or Qianmen, the southernmost gate into Tiananmen Square. Tracing its roots back to the early 15th century and restored in the early 1900s, this imposing structure is considered one of the most important landmarks in the city. Other features of note are the Museum of the Chinese Revolution, with its exhibits illustrating the various stages of the Chinese Revolution from 1919, and the development of the Communist Party, and the Mausoleum of Mao Zedong, where the body of Mao rests in a crystal sarcophagus. At 2, it's the Great Wall of China. Beijing is only an hour away from what is undoubtedly one of the country's most famous historic structures, the Great Wall of China. Here at Badaling Pass, the first part of the wall to be opened to tourists in the 1950s, you can enjoy a walk along an impressive section of the Great Wall dating from the 16th century and standing up to 8 meters high. Along the way, you'll be able to enjoy numerous towers and parapets offering superb views over the surrounding dramatic scenery. While a hilly walk, you can in fact take a pleasant cable car ride up to the wall. This much visited section of the Great Wall can get busy, so if possible try to plan your trip for an early arrival. Another popular spot to experience the Great Wall is Mutianyu, parts of which date back to the 6th century. Rebuilt and expanded over the centuries, it is becoming increasingly popular for its magnificent views, which are particularly beautiful during spring and autumn. And finally, at number 1, the Palace Museum and the Forbidden City. The Imperial Palace, also known as the Forbidden City, is China's most significant attraction and can trace its origins back to the Yuan dynasty of the 13th century. Its immense size is the result of enlargements made during the Ming dynasty between 1406 and 1420, after the capital was transferred here from Nanking. All told, this beautiful palace has been home to 24 Ming and Qing emperors, earning its nickname of the Forbidden City due to the fact ordinary citizens weren't allowed access. The complex covers 720,000 square meters, all of it surrounded by a 10-meter high wall with towers in the 4 corners and a 50-meter wide moat. It's divided into an area used for ceremonial and administrative purposes, as well as the private quarters once used by the emperor and his concubines. Highlights include the Meridian Gate built in 1420, the Golden River Bridges, a network of the 5 richly decorated white marble bridges, and the Hall of Preserving Harmony, which functioned as the Emperor's banquet hall. Other places to visit include the Palace of Heavenly Purity, the largest hall in the inner court, and the Hall of Military Courage, a permanent residence and private audience hall for the emperors. The impressive 35-meter high Hall of Supreme Harmony is notable as the country's largest surviving wooden building and for its splendidly decorated gilded imperial throne. Located just a short walk away from the Palace Museum stands the historic Imperial College. Founded in 1287 by Kublai Khan and only closed in 1900, this beautiful structure served as the country's national university and often saw the emperors of old visit to further their education and knowledge. The complex covers more than 10,000 square meters, much of which can be explored. And there you have the top 10 rated tourist attractions in Beijing. Did you like what you saw? Let us know in the comments down below. Share this video with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fantastic travel guides. See you next time.